What's going on, everyone? My name is Solomon, and if you are watching, thank you so much. This is the second video of Why I See by Faith, Young in Christ by Faith. So I am on my, this is going to be a bit confusing, but bear with me, it's intentional. Today is January 4th, but I am on my third day of fasting, in the midst of my third day of fasting. But what I want to speak on basically is my second day of fasting. So basically, I hope that made sense. It made sense to me. I'm sure that made sense. So basically, literally, I'm on my second day of fasting. Wait, no. See, I already got it wrong. So basically, I'm speaking about my second day of fasting, which was yesterday. Today is my third day of fasting. I'm in the midst of that. And today happens to be January 4th. I think I mentioned in the first video, the intro video, that my intention was to begin fasting January 1st. My intention was to enter the new year fasting, begin this channel fasting, and just work it out in that manner. I didn't do that. I did begin the channel fasting at least, but I didn't bring in the new year fasting, unfortunately. But the time is now, according to God. So hopefully you will bear with me and journey with me still. So my intention was to speak about a book that I haven't finished reading, but I started reading it when I began my last fast, which was only a 3-day fast, and it helped me out tremendously as I was reading it. However, like I said, I haven't finished it, and I think I may need to start from the beginning again, because I don't know that I remember everything that I read, but I remember a lot of it because it was so specific to my 3-day fast at that time. I'll tell you very quickly what the book is, and I'll speak more on it when I get back to it fully. So the book, sorry for that noise, it's this book here, and it's simply called Fasting, and it is by Jentezen Franklin. I hope I said his name properly, but it's a very good book from what I've read thus far. It was actually introduced to me by my sister in Christ, whom I've known since high school, and she actually lent it to me, and I with her permission, lent it to another friend of mine who was going through some severe life crises, and I wanted to help her as best as I could. And I haven't received that book back from that friend, but I purchased this for myself, and my intention was / is to give it back to my friend from high school. But she said it doesn't matter to her. She's just grateful to help, but I'm still probably going to give this to her or purchase another one for her, because I feel a ways. I don't want her to feel that I just took her stuff. But nonetheless, though, I'm going to get to this as we grow further in this fasting journey. I want to say, though, that I'm rather surprised. When I did the 3-day fast, I was just physically exhausted and just going through it and starving. And it's so funny, because when you're fasting is when food is like really abundant, you know. And I remember when I did the fast, I think I mentioned in the video before this one that I fasted twice before, but I've actually fasted 3 times before. I think I subconsciously removed the second fast from my mind, because that one I didn't connect with the Lord in the manner that I wanted to, and I didn't do what I did the first and the third time, which was stay focused on, you know, my gospel and Christian music, and focus on Christian content, whether that be on YouTube or on television. And I just didn't feel that I connected in the way that I should have. And so when I look back at it, it feels like it was more of a starvation than it was a fast. And I was working a job that required me to work basically like, say, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. 12 a.m. rather. It's stuff like hours like that, basically. At that, it just so happened to work out in that manner. So it just wasn't the best experience. Yeah, so actually, no, I confused that. That was during the third fast. The third fast was fine. It was still exhausting because I was working those hours, but I was definitely connected and I was reading this book at that time as well. However, the second fast, that was the third fast. The second fast, I can't even remember what I was doing, what I was going through, or any of that stuff. So, it just wasn't as much a fast as much as it was self-starvation. But I digress. I mentioned something in my first video that I feel like anyone with common sense understands what I mean or where I'm coming from, but still the wording was a little odd, and so I wanted to speak on that before I speak on my book of fasting and such. I mentioned, I don't remember my wording exactly, but I mentioned how I was considering strongly going vegan because the part of the process of me fasting and water fasting is not just, it is absolutely spiritual in Christ. It's to grow my spirit in Christ and to develop a stronger relationship with God. But it's also to heal myself physically. We have to be strong in this world, even though we are fighting to be strong in the spirit realm. And I haven't been my strongest in the past few years. Like I said, in the previous video, I hit 30 and things just started happening. It was crazy. So I considered going vegan. I remember when I fasted the third time, this is why I brought up, this is how I remembered, how many times I fasted. When I was fasting the third time and I was reading the Bible, it hit me as many times as I've read this passage. This particular section hit me so hard. So it's in Genesis, verse 29 and 30. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb, that's very Jamaican of me, every herb bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth on the earth, upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. So, people have kind of argued with me when I say that I'm really considering going vegan. I remember there was a YouTuber, I don't remember her name, but she was someone that was going through her growth and change in Christ and everything. But I remember she did a video that said something to the effect of vegan being a cult. And I couldn't understand. I understand to a certain degree where she was coming from, but I do believe that there are many aspects of Christianity that has been warped into something else by the world, because that's what watered down Christianity is. And so my thing is, the Lord made us to be vegan, if not vegetarian at least, and I kept like you hear people say all the time, the Lord tells us, that he gave us meat to eat. And I'm going to get to that because that is also in Genesis, I believe, with Noah. But my thing is, I think that there's a lot of misinterpretation, at least for me. I remember when I was fasting and I read this, it hit me for the first time that the meat that we're supposed to eat is not necessarily meat as in flesh, but meat as in, the flesh of fruit. And that's pretty much what he said here, in verse 29. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, so you can grow food, which is upon the face of the earth, of all the earth, and every tree in which and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. So he's telling you, I basically, the plants are the circle of life for us to live in respect to food. You plant seeds, it grows, and in respect to, say, an apple tree, you plant an apple, you grow an apple tree, and when the apple grows, in the apple there are seeds again, you know, and we can plant seeds and grow apples again. That's the quickest example I could come up with. I hope that made sense. And the flesh of the apple, that, you know, we're supposed to eat and enjoy that, and what's left behind, the seeds, is what we, you know, plant and grow again. That shall be for meat. I remember someone was saying to me that, well, he gave Noah and his sons permission to eat meat, and I believe that is, I actually have it hitting my phone, forgive me y'all, I'm new to this YouTube thing. Genesis 9 verses 1 through 5. Give me a moment to just pull that up. I should have been better prepared. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. So, God blesses Noah, basically. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fish of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. So, here, because of this part here, which isn't too long after, obviously it's just 9 chapters in, I remember having this discussion with someone where they said the Lord gave us permission to eat meat. And my thing is, yes, he gave Noah and his sons permission to eat meat, but I don't know that it's, well, think about it. This happened right after the flood. A 40-day flood throughout the entire world, essentially. There couldn't possibly have been any kind of crop, any kind of, you know, trees, any kind of plant, any kind of herbs existent at this time. What else was there gonna be to eat, you know? And I'm certain the Lord gave them permission. For my understanding is that the Lord gave them permission to eat meat because there was nothing else there they needed to survive, you know? So, and if I'm wrong, please, 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 please intervene in the comment section. You know, like I said, the purpose of this channel is so that other people like myself, artists like myself, who sort of feel as if the church isn't really giving them a chance to grow in Christ, you know, that's what this channel is for, so we can all come together and grow in Christ. And hopefully if you're someone who is out there and wants to help in this respect, please absolutely reach out, intervene. But yes, so I don't think that eating meat is necessarily bad, but even the way that he speaks on not eating meat that is filled with blood, I don't know exactly how to interpret that. You know, I imagine that it's like, I don't know exactly what to say. It's like, I feel like, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. Okay, so don't eat, don't be a cannibal, basically. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood, by man shall be shall his blood be shed. For in the image of God made he man. And you be fruitful and multiply, bring forth abundantly in the earth and multiply therein. So later on, basically after verse 5 and thereafter, up to what I read, is basically the Lord speaking, saying, don't be a cannibal, don't kill one another and such. But in verse 3, every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. It's like, yes, he is saying, you can eat meat, but right after that he says, but flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. Maybe I was misunderstanding that, because I remember when I read that, it was saying, okay, it's possible that I misunderstood that when I first read it, because for some reason I remember it hitting me as us not killing animals to eat, and my understanding was that we should try to live more so on fruits and vegetables and things like that, because those are what the Lord created. Those are living foods. Those are, the living fruit, which is why I mentioned what I said in the first video about, eating living food and whatnot. Whereas meat from animals and such, you have to kill them before you eat it, or they have to die before you eat it. And the Lord even says not to eat the blood thereof. Now, I remember thinking the blood thereof, I was thinking still in the mindset of animals, and my understanding was, well, I guess that's why we cook meat, so that there's no blood in the flesh as we eat it. But it's interesting. I came here prepared to defend wholeheartedly my thoughts on veganism, and I still strongly believe. I've witnessed people who've changed their diets completely to vegan, to a vegan lifestyle, not just vegan snacks and whatnot, because a lot of those are not, most of those are not even very good for you. They're just vegan because they don't have any animal products. But the people who live like on a raw vegan diet, who actually eat the fruit, the seed-bearing fruits and vegetables and whatnot, those people are just full of life and energetic and youthful and healthy, and they're not disease-ridden and things like that. In fact, this whole pH balance and alkaline view is a real thing, and when you think about it, it could be a large reason as to why people back then lived for so many years. When you pay attention to the people that the Lord tells us about in the Holy Bible, these people lived, for hundreds of years at a time. And there has to be a reason, and I'm certain it has to do with our food. They didn't have processed food back then, with the exception of cooking meats and whatnot. But they didn't have the fast foods that we have, all the disgusting stuff. I was trying to think of a certain word and it's not coming to me right now. I don't know, there's something in me, and I'll pray on it more, but there's something in me that tells me that we should not be eating meat. I think what it is that in this day and age, the meat that they were eating at this point, that Noah was eating, it was just God created flesh. I still believe that, the fact that there were no crops, nothing existent for them to eat in respect to seeded foods, the Lord gave them an option so that they could survive. However, I would, even though I don't see anything in here, and I'll do more reading and praying and research to to support it. I imagine that, you know, once crops and everything came back too, that they went back to eating those foods, living foods, fruits and vegetables and herbs and whatnot. I do believe that, forgive me, I have to check the time because I have a job interview to do via video. I do believe that the meat compared to then is it's just horrible. You know, there's so many chemicals in our food, so many hormones, you know, and animals compared to then versus now, you know, animals now are literally grown to be killed. You know, they weren't grown to live, and, you know, if hunger struck you and you had to do what you had to do, you make food of them. They're literally just bred to be killed for food, and they're filled with all these disgusting chemicals that are literally just hurting and killing us and everything. And so it's like I think that was my connection. Even, it's like, what's the point of eating the meat if the meat, it's one thing to eat meat, because the Lord gave us permission, but the meat that's being optioned to us in the world these days is just disease and chemical and hormone ridden. And so that's my reason for deciding to go vegan-esque. I don't know, you know, I don't want to put myself out there as a vegan and then find myself having some Popeyes or something, you know. I don't know, we'll see what happens. So either way, I wanted to get into that. I just wanted to speak on that a bit in case anyone misunderstood what it was that I was saying in that first video. So here's my Bible. This is my research. And forgive me, I probably seem a bit awkward. I'm still getting used to this, but I'm making it work as best as I can. Again, I pray that you will work with me, journey with me, and grow with me. And with that said, I'm gonna go now because I need to do this job interview and I need to get ready, put on a shirt and tie and all that good stuff. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have your viewership, and I would love to get to know you. You know, shoot me a comment, say hello. I live in New York, but you know, if you invite me to your church, I'm likely to show up. Even if I gotta take a plane, who knows, I might need to go on a vacation or something, I don't know. But yes, please, let's converse, let's, you know, have an online congregation among one another, especially if you are artists and creative types out there. I know that the church is not easily accepting and open to us all the time, and I've had my experiences. I'm going to speak on that also during this journey, and that will add us to another reason, that'll add another reason as to why I think it was necessary for me to start this channel. And yeah, I'm pretty much just babbling on at this point. So again, God bless, have a blessed day, and I'll see you tomorrow.